Jews can begin, viewers, in this country to breathe easy. They won't be picked off one by one as they have been. The conversion industry may just have run into its biggest roadblock yet. The Home Ministry has tightened foreign funding rules. NGOs receiving foreign funds can support religious institutions, preserve faith traditions, promote devotional activities and maintain places of worship. But there is one activity, and I've got the viewers, the hard facts for you in graphic form. There is one activity that they cannot indulge in, which is proselytization or conversion. No money can be accepted from abroad for this purpose. So what's allowed, viewers? Construction, renovation, and maintenance of religious places. What's not is proselytization or conversion. You're allowed religious education and promotion of devotional music, among others, so you can take money for these purposes, but not proselytization. You can take money for documentation of faith traditions, which is writing books and accounts and so on and so forth, and the preservation of indigenous beliefs. What's not, however, allowed? No money for proselytization and conversion. The backdrop is equally significant. Critics argue that loopholes in the earlier FCRA, Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act framework, created during the UPA era, opened the floodgates for foreign-funded religious activism. It was during this period that figures like Zakir Naik rose to prominence in several organizations allegedly operated with little oversight, converting wantonly, putting a lot of pressure on demographics in certain areas. Since 2014, the crackdown has intensified. Thousands of FCRA registrations have been suspended or cancelled, and multiple organizations have lost foreign funding clearances. That's right, viewers. The FCRA rules were drafted in 2020, allowed organizations, the 2010, allowed organizations registered for broad, flexible purposes such as religious, educational, social or cultural to accept donations from outside, but it didn't define what religious meant. Now, viewers, under the NDA, having recognized that these UPA-era laws had allowed the floodgates for predatory conversion, forcible conversion, conversion by incentive, and therefore was eroding the demographic outlook of this country, have tightened the rules, viewers, have blocked all those little loopholes that allowed entities like 4 evangelical ones operating in Jharkhand, Manipur and Mumbai that lost their FCRA clearances in September 2020 to thrive. Licenses of 13 more NGOs were suspended for similar reasons in September 2020. All were benefiting from that UPA era loophole, viewers. That's all been now closed, hopefully. The move comes amid growing scrutiny of what critics describe as a global conversion ecosystem that allegedly used foreign funding raised under the guise of charity, education and social work, but diverted funds for conversion campaigns. So that was the real objective. The decision to tighten the laws to firewall Hindu faith prompts one big question. If all religions are equal, why do proselytizers want to convert devotees from other faiths to their way? Viewers, we are constantly told we are living in a secular, inclusive society. So why aren't these various other religions accommodative and also in some ways extremely conscious of equity and equality? Doesn't the zeal to convert stem from a supremacist and exclusionary outlook? Let's open this up. I want to bring in Umer Junaidi, advocate and political analyst. Mr. Junaidi, we have a situation here where now a firewall is having to be created because there are individuals who, though say that we believe in equality, we believe in tolerance, etc., are converting from a supremacist and exclusionary outlook. This is predation This is not harmony.
Good evening to the panelists and the viewers. The point is very clear. If any person is forced to convert into Islam, that conversion itself is invalid because the basic structure of Islam or converting into Islam is that of believing the oneness of God. And anybody who is forcing somebody to have a conversion is wrong. So, in that context, whoever the NGOs or the organizations who are into the forceful conversions are doing wrong and they should not operate. That's very simple. And the government of India should put restrictions on it. Now, the question is tightening of FCRAs, talking about proselytization, etc. will, okay, that's fine. What if there are people who want to get themselves converted? What is the connection between this FCRA funds and the person who is wanting himself or herself to be in Islam or in Christianity? What is the rule then? So it is very simple concept. BJP wants to make an agenda. They want to show that the organization use the foreign funds and they do the forceful conversions, but that is not the reality. Now, show me the instance wherein any person who has got into Islam or Christianity is getting incentive or stipend or honorarium or monthly some benefits. No, there is no such activity. So the basic agenda of BJP is to create agenda and defame the religion. I talk
Where
about
did
the
someone like Zakir Naik come out of, sir?
Zakir Naik came because the FCRA funds was given to Zakir Naik.
Of course, he was receiving them in the crores.
So that was the only reason that Zakir
Naik
got the fame?
Yes, of course. It's very well established.
Zakir
I mean, he was talking about Osama bin Laden and all sorts of Saudi terrorists. What is that connection to do with? Oh, come on, let's not defend. Listen, one minute, Mr. Junaidi, 1 second. Don't defend the indefensible. He's sitting and running away. He's sitting in another country called Malaysia, hiding under some little rock there. So let's not try to imbue larger motives. I'm not saying anything that is not borne out by police investigations. But 1 second, I just want to open this up. Mr. Junaidi, on the face of it.
Let me make my point clear.
Yes,
Let me make my point clear. I am not the defender of Zakir Naik.
I'm glad.
Against Zakir Naik.
Because that would have been very unfortunate.
But the point is,
yes,
if Zakir Naik was a person funded by FCRA funds, where is Zakir Naik today? So why there is need to have the tightening of the FCRA rules today if there is no Zakir Naik?
Because there are others. Should I show you examples? I'll show you a picture right now. Let's put out the picture. Look at this individual. Let's put out that split screen. Look at that individual to the extreme left. Look at what is happening in Nagpur. What is happening, viewers, even as we speak in the conversion traps. No, at TCS. No, hang on. TCS, money is coming in from all sorts of sources. Viewers, no, that doesn't matter. That money can filter through. The NGO is not holding it in its pocket. It could be distributing it to agents. No. One second. Abhijit Ayer Mitra, let me just bring this out. Look at those pictures on our screen. This man seems to be in denial. Look, I understand from Mr. Junaidi, and these are right, beautiful sentiments to express on national TV that, there is this precept where, of course, in Islam, if people are forcibly converted, that conversion is not recognized and all of that. But these precepts are followed, are observed in the breach, Abhijit Ayer Mitra, because the mindset is such.
So look, every law, there will be a certain branch of jurisprudence that will say what Umair Junaidi has said. There will be another branch of jurisprudence that will hold it legal. How many of these kidnap conversions Pakistan have been held legal because you're not allowed to technically convert out once you've converted, right? So it depends on what you invoke. Leave that aside. We are unnecessarily muddying the issue out here. The Constitution, Article 25, guarantees you the right to practice and propagate your faith. There is no right to receive foreign funds anywhere in the Constitution. All right, this is a question of funding. It isn't stopping your practice, it isn't stopping your proselytization. It is stopping the foreign funding coming in. Now, let us understand why that is important. We know for a fact, we have seen this, it is documented that a lot of the Presbyterian and Methodist funds coming in were directly linked to the Naga insurgency. The anti-nuclear protests that happened in Tamil Nadu were largely funded by church groups. And of course, Chidambaram put them in their place when he slapped 10,000. I think that's the highest number of sedition charges ever slapped in one day in Indian history on the protesters. And that is when they realized a reset was required. Now, I never realized foreign funding. Tell me, what is a religion? If foreign funding is so crucial, because religion is a marketplace of ideas, it is not a marketplace for funds. An idea should not require funds to back it up. An idea needs to shine through on its own. Jesus himself lived a very poor life.
Saudi money came into Pakistan, Saudi money came into Kashmir, Saudi money is floating around in Kerala. What is that Saudi money building? And I want to bring in Mr. Tushar Gupta on this point. What is it building? It's building what? It is building the infrastructure, viewers, for the spread on the back of petrodollars, let me tell you, of a faith. It's not on the back of ideas. I mean, you had a situation, Mr. Gupta, where Yusuf Yuhana, the Pakistan cricket captain, who is a Christian, had to convert to Muhammad Yusuf rather, because, and this is now well established, that he was under pressure. Every time he would go back to the changing room, they would think that he got out because, you know, he was Pakistani, he was conspiring with his opponents, etc., to underperform and so on and so forth. So he said, chalo, thoro yaar. At that time, no one said, no, this is under some sort of pressure and all of that. I'm sorry, we don't accept your conversion. No, they accepted him, they embraced him.
No, Rahul, you remember what Dinesh Kaneria, when he came out in public as one of the leading spinners from the Pakistani cricket team, what he said about how Hindus were treated. Nevertheless, this is not about Pakistan. I think we are way beyond that point where we can address forceful conversions in Pakistan. It's a lost cause over there. India isn't. Look, conversions here, they run like an industry. It's not a one-off thing, it's a community thing. They try to convert pockets and pockets of, humans, in the sense it will be an economic incentive, it will be a social incentive. Sometimes it will also be intimidation. So it's a mixture of everything. To look at what's going on in Kerala. When through popular culture, that story was tried to be told to the rest of the nation, people discarded it as if it never happens. Was the Kerala story a lie? We've seen what happened in Kashmir to the remaining people over there. We've seen in what's going on in Punjab. CNN itself on the ground has covered what's going on in Punjab. We've seen what happened in West Bengal. There's several states where this conversion racket is on a rampage. It's working relentlessly. And it works in the, garb of, oh, we are here only for welfare. Oh, we are here only to help. Oh, there is only about educating the young people. So you can always disguise it into some sort of human welfare, human resource welfare, and do your cause. That is the kind of network that these money cartels sponsor. It's the foundation. The guys is the entire foundation. And if the money is not there, the guys will not be there. And that is why these new regulations are very, very important.
Okay.
We have to understand the fight against conversion. It will never be won because on the face of it, you're dealing with something very humane. If you go and ask someone, why are you stopping this person who's merely there to help someone who's in economic distress, you'll come across as the bad person. But under the surface, it's all about converting that person. It starts from one person, then it's the family, then it's the extended family, and soon it's the entire community. It's that simple.
So let me ask Abhijit Iyer Mitra as we wrap out. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, do you think this is something that will disincentivize or even curb the menace? Or do you think till the mindset doesn't actually surrender to a more inclusive outlook, nothing is going to change?
Look, it's trying to, use a twig to stop a flood. It's something, but it's not very significant. Because, the way you stop things like this, the right to proselytize, propagate should be guarded, when society functions properly, when your police function properly, where every, imagine in a first world country like Britain, you saw what happened because religious groups applied pressure for grooming gangs not to be targeted, or they created public narratives, that any targeting of pedophiles would be anti-religious, racist, whatever. You need a properly functioning police. You need every violation to be reported because, like Tushar mentioned, a lot of it is coercion, collective coercion. Ghettos become larger, and then you're squeezed out gently, or you're forced to
Submit.
swing one way or another, right? There is a much more holistic approach required. That said, this is a good thing.
It's a good start.
But
It's a
a
good
lot
start.
more needs to be done.
Absolutely. But viewers, as many believe, this is perhaps going to prove inadequate because, as we have just said, viewers, there are people who still see the world in us versus them concept, who want to convert devotees from other faiths to their way because they believe that their way is superior. Until you have that outlook, this menace is not going to go away. We leave it at this, viewers. Thank you for watching.